Hi there. Okay, we're on to part number 2. I'm in Swish now, and I've created a new Swish movie. This movie has the properties set to that of articulate projects. So the width and height are 720 by 540, and the frame rate is 30 frames per second. I've also screen capped slide number 1 from my PowerPoint file. If you recall, that slide is the home screen, which is where this flash file ultimately is going to be imported into. And I've pasted that in as the background image in my Swish file. Now this is only temporary, so I can see, basically so I can see the PowerPoint file here in Swish and I know where my buttons should be lined up. If I didn't do this, you can see the shape here is at the very bottom layer. If I just turn that off for a second, literally I'd just be working with a white screen and I wouldn't have a clue where these buttons should appear. So I really do need that reference image in the background just temporarily. When I go to export this file into Flash, I'm not going to export this shape or this image. It'll be deleted before I do that so it doesn't come across. Okay, I'm also using ruler guides here for a little bit more precise alignment as well. I've created 7 buttons, as you can see in scene number 1, and each button is for each of the elements on the screen. So I have 4 buttons on the left and 3 post-it notes. Let's take a look specifically at this green button here. Though each button was created in a similar fashion, we'll step through with the green button. So to create a button in Swish, you just choose Insert Button. And once you do, it comes up with a button in the list down here, and it's just generically called something, just has a generic name. And you want to go into the properties and rename it to be something specific, and then also make sure that you turn on has separate overstate. Well, at least in my example, what I want to happen here is basically nothing until the person rolls over the button, and once they roll over the button, then I want it to change the way it looks, and I want it to play a sound, and when they click a button, I want them to do something. I want it to do something as well. So to have all that functionality, you have to have that as a separate overstate. So I've done that for each of these buttons. Now let's take a look at how it works. We'll expand this out, and you can see here are the 2 states. So up, down, and hit is basically the do nothing state, and you can see in here all I've done is I've added in a transparent PNG. Now I used the insert, import an image command to bring in that PNG file that I created in another program. And then I sized and positioned that PNG file right over top of where the green button would appear in PowerPoint. Again, it's just a clear placeholder that does nothing at all. It's the overstate that actually does something. So when I expand out the overstate, you can see that I use the import image command to bring in a new button which represents the rollover state, and I created this button in PowerPoint earlier, exported it as a PNG, and now have brought that element into Swish. And I also brought in another image for the information that appears on the right side. So when the user rolls over the button, this is what they see. You could also use the Swish tools and animation effects to kind of really jazz this up, but I won't do that for this demo. Now, in order to have the user go to a specific slide in PowerPoint, you have to add in a bit of script. So just click on your button and then click on the script tab. You can see I've added in 2 scripting events, or script events. When the user rolls over, it's going to play a sound effect, and that sound effect is kind of like a whoosh type sound. And then when the user clicks on the button, it's going to execute this function here. Now this function, you want to copy it identically to what you're seeing on the screen. The only thing that changes is the actual slide number. So if you wanted to go to slide 12 instead of slide 8, you just change that. In this case, it is going to slide number 8. And then you repeat that for each of your buttons. So objectives, that's one of the post-its. It goes to slide number 2 and it plays a different sound. If you don't want the sound effects, just delete lines 1, 2, and 3. And that's it. So if you go back over to the layout view, you can delete that background reference image because you don't want that to come across, and then just choose File, Export as an SWF, and then export the file. Back over in PowerPoint, go to slide number 1, in my case, Articulate tab, Flash Movie, and then you want to just bring in that SWF file. There it is. And I just set it so that it's when user clicks next and movie plays independently, it then fills up the entire screen. I publish, and when I finish publishing, I get this kind of effect. When I click on the green how it works, I go to slide number 8. So that's how it works, and I hope you find that helpful.